Triple M Grill Team.
Yeah, something that's going to ruffle the feathers of those on welfare, boys. It's called income management, a program where the government tells recipients how to spend their welfare money. The program works like this. You get a basics card, works like an ATM card. You can only spend it on rent, bills, groceries and clothing. You can't use it on to gamble, buy alcohol or cigarettes, which I quite like.
I can't see a downside there.
I think, maybe if they put a little bit of a time lapse on it, say after 6 months of unemployment, if you are still unemployed, then they can tell you what to spend it on, but maybe up to 6 months you can do what you want with it. But because there is some people out there legitimately looking for jobs, but
the long-term unemployed.
95% aren't.
What about if you're legitimately looking for jobs, you're a smoker and you don't mind a drink?
Too bad.
And you just want to have a couple of drinks. We're not talking about cases every day, but if you just want to buy a case of beer for the week and a couple of packs of darts for the week, you can't use that money. It's a bit harsh on them, isn't it?
But I think what you're doing here is you're creating a disincentive for people to be on welfare, which is really important. So it's almost like if you're creating the incentive to say when you earn your own money, champ, then you can go out and buy your case of beer and your smokes, then all of a sudden a lot more people get off their backside and work.
We hit the streets of Sydney yesterday to get some reaction, but if you are on welfare and you don't like this new system, give us a buzz on 133353. But this is what the majority of people in Sydney thought about this yesterday when we spoke to them.
I don't believe that these dole bludgers should be given these handouts and they have control over what they're spending their money on. It's completely wrong that they should spend their money on gambling and booze and non-essential things.
When you're getting money for free without working and in majority of cases never being a taxpayer, I have no issue at all with the government telling people how to spend this privileged money that they're getting.
This system is supposed to give them guidance and give them direction to get themselves out of their rut that they're in and their vicious cycle that they're already in.
As someone who pays taxes, I think it's actually a really good idea for people to have to learn how to budget correctly, especially when they're just getting a roof over their head for free until they can get a job. I don't really think that if you lose your job, you should be able to drown your sorrows on the government.
Yeah, let's face it. We don't live in a communist country, and everyone has the right to spend their money any which way they seem fit. But when you are handed other people's money, you should be given guidelines how that money is spent. It's a no-brainer.
Hey boys, how are you?
Yeah, good buddy.
Hey, Scotty.
Yeah, I've been paying taxes for 25 years and now find myself in a situation where I have to get a bit of welfare through circumstance, and I think I should be able to buy a beer and smokes if I want beer and smoke.
Have you got money backed up, Scotty?
Pardon?
Have you got money backed up?
No, not anymore. I did have, but I've been off work for probably 2 years now. So.
Okay. Scotty, without prying too far into it, what are the challenges you face with getting employment now?
Well, having my children every second week for a full week, and it's hard to get a job when you can't turn up every day at all the right times and all that sort of thing. So I've struggled since that's happened, plus a few other things. So I still think I should have the right in our country. We should be able to do as we wish, while we're in reason, and be able to beer and a smoke and a fiver in the pokies if you want, I reckon.
Yeah, well, if you paid taxes for 25 years, I think maybe you've earned the right to.
But I suppose, Scotty, a lot of people will say, if you find yourself in that predicament, even it's a fiver in the pokies. But really, is that indulgent?
It's harsh, but it's not your fiver.
I don't think it's indulgent, though, is it? No, for $5 and a couple of beers and a ciggy. He's worked hard for 25 years, paid his taxes.
Yeah, I know. It's a hard one, You've got to be socially happy
as well, You've got to have some sort of release.
He's not the majority. The majority are lazy bastards, aren't they? Who don't want to look for work and just keep taking.
Well, the generational people on the dole, that's for sure. People, generation after generation within their family. What about Amber? How are you, Amber?
Good, thanks. How are you?
What are your thoughts?
Look, I completely agree with it. I'm not on welfare at the minute I work, but my mother was, and she had a gambling and drinking problem, and, I'd know it was pension day when I came home from school and she wouldn't be there. She'd be across at the bolo, and then we'd have no money. Wow. We'd have to go to my nan and, she would have to buy groceries and essential things because she, couldn't help herself. So
that's awful.
That was horrible.
That's two very contrasting stories then from Scott and Amber that make you think about both.
Yeah, absolutely right, MG. What about Tom in Blackstone? G'day, Tom.
Hey, boys. How you doing?
Good, Tommy.
Good.
Yeah, I've been on welfare now for about 6 months and been out of work for pushing on to a year now. And I've got no problem at all with the government certainly giving me some guidelines and sort of usage of the money, because I was full-time work for 10 years up until I finish work up because of some health issues, and you know, so I've got no problems at all with some guidelines and direction on how to use the money. And, you know, you've got to live, but at the same time, you know, it is a handout. So.
Yeah, Tommy, and I don't think, let's be honest here, I don't think the government are saying right down to the last dollar they're going to tell you what to spend on, but I think a good majority of it, there should be guidelines where the money needs to be spent.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's just common sense.
Yeah, no, I've got some old mates from school that you see them, they've been on welfare for the best part of 5 or 6 years, and you see them up at the pub every Friday night. And,
well, that's right.
After they pick up their check, and they're in the pokies. And
I mean, the thing about it is, Tommy, let's think about this. If a mate comes to you and says, "Oh, mate, I need $1,000 to, you know, for house payments and blah 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 blah," and you give him that $1,000, and the next Saturday night you find out he's at the pub drinking most of it away.
Yeah, that's not.
Then, mate, you're pretty dirty on it. But effectively, that's what, mate, a lot of people in this country are doing.
Tommy, are you able to work now, mate?
Yeah, no, I'm all good now. I'm actually just trying to find work now, and lots of interviews and whatnot. But not going places at the moment, but getting there.
What are your qualifications, brother? We might be able to find you one. What can you do? You sound like a goer.
Yeah, no, I used to work in IT and doing like project work and all that. So.
Yeah.
Well, we need a decent IT. We need a decent IT bloke here. There is Dave, the slow cooker.
You know how to turn on a computer. You're better than our blokes.
Yeah. Well done, Tommy.
You can probably run Triple M.
Hey, Vince, what do you have to say on this, buddy?
Well, I just turned on the radio now and I heard Mark saying that we're dole bludgers. Look, I was unemployed for just over a year. I owned my own business before that. And I'm telling you, you've got this totally wrong.
Oh, Vince, please. How can you justify that? How long you been on welfare for?
I'm working now. I was on welfare for just over a year, and I've worked my whole life before that, and I needed to be on welfare, and I took it.
But Vince, you missed the part.
You've just said the key thing there, Vince. You've just come in on something.
Yeah.
What we're talking about here is
the majority
people who basically get welfare and spend it all on smokes and grog and gambling.
Yeah, I've seen that. I own my own business. I watch them come.
What do you think? What do you think about that, Vince?
Brilliant that you do it, but what you're misunderstanding is they're only going to take, I think, 75% of your money. So you've still got money to have your luxuries. They're just ensuring that you have
enough to pay the bills.
Enough to pay the bills, and you have put food on the table for your kids, your family, for yourself.
Well, that's fantastic, Vince.
And that's brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's great.
But now it's been blown out of proportion by people going, "Oh no, they're taking our money, they're controlling." No, they're not. They're controlling 75% of your money, which is great. You've still got 25%, which isn't a lot.
Well, we all agree, Vince.
So, Vince, what were you making a week, bud, on the rock and roll?
425, and before I ended, it went to 445.
A week?
I know, a fortnight.
Okay.
Oh, jeez, I was about to.
I was about to quit.
Sorry. And I'm a family of 6, and we barely survived.
Yeah, I can imagine. And mate, honestly, you're not in the majority. You've worked like our first.
He's back at work.
He's back at work.
You weren't calling him a dole bludger.
No. It's the habitual ones.
Vince has jumped the gun a little bit there and thinks we're calling him a dole bludger. I mean, Vince, please, mate, you've come in on something, but let's face reality. There are people out there that are dole bludgers.
Yeah.
If you want to have your say on this, we couldn't get to every call. Get us on Twitter @GrillTeam. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
The Triple M Grill Team.